Hello guys, Dan here from Dan's Tech, and in today's video guys I'm going to be bringing you the £1,000 gaming PC build for 2016. This build does contain an AMD 8320 8-core, this does run at 3.5 GHz and does turbo to 4 GHz. And then for the GPU we are going to be grabbing the Zotac 960 AMP edition. This card does feature 1024 cores, which to be honest is going to get you some pretty damn good 1080p gaming performance. This build, with it being a little bit more expensive, we are going to be including the Hyper 212 Evo cooler. I have recently reviewed this cooler, even having the cooler for like 3 years. Yeah, I finally reviewed it. It is a fantastic cooler for the money, and if anything, from now on, all the builds are going to contain this cooler. It just makes a little bit more sense actually at this higher price point for a PC, and yeah. That's kind of about it. With the higher builds, will contain better kind of coolers, but Hyper 212 Evo will go perfectly with the 8320. I do know all the AMD kind of stock coolers are not that great, so yeah, this cooler will get you some nice quiet gaming and some good temperatures with that CPU and possibly a little bit of overclocking. Anyhow, I'm rambling. I will say that these guides do guarantee compatibility, and if anything, are a guide. If you guys want to change any of the parts, feel free. And yeah, just talking about parts, we'll have all the parts in the description. There will be links there for Amazon US and also Amazon UK. And guys, let's kind of get on with the video, and yeah, let me guys show you what I've chose for the £1,000 gaming PC. To get started, for the CPU, you're going to be grabbing the AMD FX 8320. This chip is an 8-core, hence the 8 in the product name, and runs at a frequency of 3.5 GHz with a turbo frequency of 4 GHz when power and temperatures permit. Now this CPU runs on socket AM3 Plus and is rated at 125 watts. This will be plenty fast for the build and should even allow some flexibility for upgrading the GPU to say the GTX 980 or RTX 290X if wanted in the future. As mentioned in the intro, at this price point it does make quite a bit of sense to use a decent cooler to cool the system, so we're going to be grabbing the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo cooler. Now this cooler really doesn't need an introduction as it's so popular, however, for you peeps that have never heard of it, it's a single tower cooler that sports a single 120mm fan, features many aluminium fins and 4 direct touch copper heat pipes. The best part about this cooler is that it's usually around £28 here in the UK and performs very well for the price, and you can even get away with some light overclocking. Moving on to the motherboard, we're going to be grabbing the Asus M5A78L-M/USB 3. This micro ATX board comes in at a relatively cheap price of £51. This packs support for the AMD FX 8320 CPU mentioned and has support for the 2 higher end CPUs on this platform. This board supports up to 32GB of RAM via the 4 DIMM sockets, has support for many expansion cards featuring a PCI Express x16, x1, as well as 2 PCI slots for legacy cards. As supports, this motherboard has a total of 6 SATA 3GB ports, features 10 USB 2 ports, as well as 2 USB 3 ports. Moving swiftly onto the RAM, for this build I've opted to go with 8GB of Kingston HyperX Fury memory. All memory these days is pretty solid, and this series of memory has been tested by myself in a couple of builds and overall is very solid. The speed of this memory is 1600 MHz with a cast latency of CL10. Overall a good choice and solid for around £28. Many other colour options are available for £1 or £2 more. Today the black colour is on promo for a mere £24. As for storage, we'll be picking up a standard 1TB hard drive from Seagate. I've got a couple of these in my machine already and overall do work very well for the price. Main specs include 1TB capacity, 7200 RPM spin speed and 64MB of cache. Moving on to the most exciting part of this build, the GPU. For this build I've opted to go for the GeForce GTX 960. Now this dual fan Zotac AMP variant of the card does feature 2GB of VRAM and 1024 cores running at a base frequency of 1266 MHz with a boost of 1329 MHz when power and temperatures allow. Now as for the outputs, this card features 3 DisplayPort 1.2 ports as well as a HDMI version 2 port, all capable of 4K 60Hz, with finally a single dual-link DVI connector with a max res of 2560 by 1600. For £162, this is a pretty damn good deal at the moment. Moving on to the case, I've chosen the Fractal Design Core 1500. This is a compact micro ATX case in black. Now as for the features and the specs, first up for the fans, this comes with 2 120mm fans, one set up as an intake and the other as a rear exhaust, with support for many more. As for storage, this case sports room for either 4 conventional 3.5-inch hard drives or 2.5-inch SSDs, or you could go for a mix. You'll also find room for 2 optical disk drives and a dedicated spot for an additional 2.5-inch SSD near the power supply. The top of the case features two USB 3 ports in addition to the standard HDOG connectors and power and reset buttons. Graphic card clearance is 38cm in length, CPU cooler clearance is 16.2cm, perfect for the Hybrid 212 Evo cooler. Power supply clearance is essentially unlimited, however restricted to 15.5cm if you want to utilise the bottom fan mount. Lastly, onto the power supply, we'll be grabbing the Corsair CX500. This is a very popular series from Corsair and does deliver great efficiency thanks to its bronze certification. This power supply comes with all the connectors needed for this build, including 4 4-pin peripheral connectors, 2 PCI Express connectors, and 5 SATA connectors for hard drives or SSDs. The total for this build is £503 UK. So guys, there were the parts I chose for the Founded Pound gaming PC. This build, with it featuring the AMD 8320 and also the Zotac 960, you're going to be getting some absolutely solid 1080p gaming here. You know, be able to play games, say like Battlefield 4 at high or even ultra settings. Now this build, it is actually under this build. It's the first build which is under in the series, under by about 40 pence, so I don't know, I don't do whatever you want to with that 40 pence. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, this is a guide, change any components you want to, and that just by sticking with these components, I do guarantee compatibility, and that, if anything, is what you guys kind of want to see from these videos. If you know you do know how to build a PC, but are kind of not sure on what kind of parts to choose, and you know, kind of know what parts will work with other things. That's kind of the point of the series, to kind of just show you what parts are kind of compatible with each other and what will work in a system brilliantly at, say, a given price point. Anyway guys, just remember, all links are in the description, Amazon US and UK, and yeah, without further ado guys, if you do have any questions, post them in the comments section, and if you did say enjoy this video, give that video a good old thumbs up. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Now this build does contain an AMD FX 83, something like that, yeah, I'll do it, fuck it, I quit.